Hey, can you look at the video? Does it look down?
I'm just reading the comment.
All right, well, we're talking to people. We're so happy. Right now, it feels like I'm dating this girl, like brand new. Like I feel like she's a brand new woman. How do you handle disagreements with your husband? Very bold. Has there ever been temptations of cheating? And how do you handle it?
So please subscribe to our channel.
Our channel. No,
my
guys,
channel.
I can talk about being sensitive in this video because unfortunately none of my friends are watching.
So my favorite thing about Travis is
I've been dealing with a lot of anger towards my husband lately.
how to encourage and challenge each other. Hey guys, if you missed last week, a video on the big girl bed and marriage, Travis and I decided that we were gonna do our first Q&A. We're just gonna jump right into it. We had a lot of really good questions. I have read them all, but we haven't necessarily discussed most of the questions together. So this is live, this is raw, and we're not sure how long this video will be, but hopefully it'll be interesting and just a small look into our marriage.
Well, I think the intent of the video was to do Q&A, get to know Ashlyn better, and talk about marriage in a positive light. And it's probably something that's not talked about that much. How did you two meet from Lisa? We were introduced, we went to a small private school here in San Diego. It was like 2,000 kids in the whole school, so everybody pretty much knew everybody except we didn't know each other until senior year. College. I remember vividly, it was in the stairway, and that was it. So we didn't talk to each other after we graduated. Saw her at a wedding, and saw her at a grocery store, and she started flirting with me at a grocery store. I was picking out beans and rice, and I was on a college budget, and she was being sweet and sassy and aggressive.
Which is not like me at all. I don't know what got into me, but...
Well, it's these big guns. And so we were engaged.
We dated for a year and 2 months. And then we got engaged, and were engaged for almost 10 months. So we were together for almost 2 full years before we got married. The next question is from Katie. She'd love to know mine and Trav's spiritual life. Do you pray together, serve, devotionals? How do you encourage and challenge each other in your faith walk?
I mean, we pray together practically every night.
I don't know if you wanted to know personal spiritual life individually or together. Early on in our marriage, we first got involved in a couple study. First, like 5.5, 6 years, we were involved in this great young couple study, and so we did that together. We've always kind of been adamant about finding a church home. We do pray together, but we don't have like this consistent, like at night before we go to bed, we have to do this, or we're not necessarily in a devotional together as a couple.
I think also too, spirituality early on in our dating relationship, really, really important. And I felt like we were both really, really close to God when we started dating. So it's something that's wasn't introduced to us after or during marriage. It was something in the very, very beginning, which I think's really helped us. Not to say one's better than the other, but the roots are deep and they're manicured.
How do you encourage and challenge each other in your faith walk? I don't really feel like we really necessarily need to challenge each other because life is a challenge. I think where we're at in this season is a challenge, and so I think that encouraging each other is so vital in this season because we do have very little kids.
We're also pretty sensitive to where we're at. I mean, when I start getting more angry, or if like, you know, you're being frustrated, you can sense it pretty quickly and understand that you're maybe not investing in your spiritual life as much as you probably should be.
And asks, you recently put a business on hold. If I remember correctly, are you struggling with not having a job anymore? But I'm really struggling only being a wife and mom right now. My husband is supportive, but I feel like a large piece of me is hibernating right now. Oh, P.S. I went to high school with Travis and married someone he played football with. So hello, Travis.
Oh yeah, I recognize that last name, Kristen Munley. Puma Football, Temecula, California.
Are you struggling with not having a job anymore? Not now. I used to. It took me a long time to adjust to working full time, to then running my business, to then becoming a mom. And then it's taken me a long time to kind of slowly open my hands and just be okay with just being a mom. I feel like I held on to my very small side business for so long because it gave me a sense of purpose. Personally, I like having things on the side, which is another reason why I feel like I've started YouTubing, because it gives me this creative outlet. But it's taken me a while to be here. I feel like God has really spoken to me about what a blessing it is to be home with my kids, but how this is like the greatest work I could do. And it's humbling and it's quiet, but it's also like a new season where it's really just beautiful, and I've really learned to embrace it. And Beckham's almost 5, so it's taken some time.
Christian mindset, how do you know when you potentially found the one? What advice would you give regarding starting a relationship? I think one thing about us, it was very natural when we started dating. It was very natural to laugh, to spend time together. When you meet somebody that just feels like they compliment you, you know, you're not striving. There's attraction there. It's just, everything just seems to be flowing. Equally yoked on the spiritual side, where you're at the same spiritual level. On that, I think that in that part, we were very comfortable. Are you going to be the one lifting them up, or the one bringing you down? Often case it's the person bringing the other person down. So you kind of have to have everything kind of even and level in some ways. Be patient. You almost have to trust God to know that you're in the right spot and things are going to work out.
Which actually is funny because, so when Travis and I were dating, I wrote, and even before I met him, I was really persistent in writing letters to my future husband, and I wrote a lot of letters. And then when we started dating, you can see in here, like, I was journaling, and I ended up photocopying them all, putting them in like a book together for our wedding day. I don't know, you can see me wrestling with God while we were dating. Like, God, this feels right. Like, I'm so in love with him. I just can't get enough of him, but like, I want your will. And so it just was like a lot of work, asking God to just really give us peace, like every single step of the way. A lot of people actually, I think, read this person, Every Day is a Good Day.
I've been dealing with a lot of anger towards my husband lately because I feel a lot of years of marriage, he still doesn't get the things I need / desire. I know a lot of people say, let your husband know what you are needing and what areas he's lacking, but I hate that answer. I want my husband to figure out what I need. Well, I think that's, I mean, just like guys, like I would love Ash to come home and welcome me with a big kiss and dinner and, you know, a glass of wine and say, hey, you know, we put the kids down, whatever, or, you know, just certain things. There's certain, I would love for her to be, hey, go surf, go take out some time away. Fortunately, it's like, as much as I tell her that, I mean, there's life. And I think the same way as with her, she was like, I would just love for you to do dishes just automatically, or clean. When you see a mess, just automatically, insightfully know that you need to clean it. And you basically want the other person to be a certain way or do a certain thing automatically. I think it's really, really hard. I mean, I think that we are wired so differently. Guys are so different. The way they think about things that they think you think about are just so different. I went to a study and read a book about how guys speak through a different microphone and girls hear through a different microphone. And it's just true. The way we communicate is just different. The way we're wired is different. The way our needs are different. So I think you need to show a little grace in that regard, and then figure out the best way to communicate what you do need and say, hey, I would feel loved if you did this. I would feel so appreciated if you would clean and get home early for dinner. It would make me feel so much better. And not, you know, we used to fight so much early on in our marriage because the way she communicated it was really aggressive, I thought. Like, she was always trying to pick a fight with me. I'm like, why are you always picking fights? Like, things are chill here. We're just cool. And she was like, no, I'm trying to communicate what I need. Cool about, real quickly, about, we're not bragging about, but we've been married for 8 years. And right now it feels like I'm dating this girl, like a brand new, like I feel like she's a brand new woman. And you know those feelings you get when you're young. You just meet somebody and there's this excitement, these butterflies, and there's this desire to love, and there's just this passion, right? It just comes natural. That's what I feel like right now. And I think she feels the same way.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so, but I feel that way as a guy, so, which is, I think, kind of unique. And I didn't think I'd ever get to that place in a marriage later on in life where you can be giddy and stoked and feel like this person's like, I'm so passionate about, like, I want to get to know her more. She's changed in some ways. And so that's my encouragement. I think like with anything, water that garden and see it can get better over time. And those same emotions and excitement can happen later on in marriage. Being sweet with your speech and delicate, how you bring up certain things is really, really important.
And I also want to add, like, prayer in your personal walk is huge. How important it is to pray for your spouse when they're not walking with God, or they're not doing things that are benefiting your marriage or yourself. We are, like, naturally very selfish people, and we want instant gratification. We want an instantly great marriage. We want instantly just everything to be easy and smooth, but that's not really the case. And I feel like when rubber meets the road is when God calls you to just pray, like pray for your spouse, pray for your heart to be softened. Remind yourself of the good things that you loved about your spouse. A lot of people mentioned that. A lot of people also had mentioned the 5 love languages. That's huge. How I feel loved is quality time. That is not how Travis feels love. He likes to spend time together, but that doesn't fill him up as much as it fills me up. So knowing each other and learning that about each other, I think is key.
Otherwise, I feel like I'm telling him what to do, and then when he does it, it only is because I told him. Totally get that. I totally understand that.
I feel like it's not genuine.
And
you have to tell them.
Oh, totally. It does not count sometimes when you ask, but you have to be graceful because at the same time you still need it. So, you know, swallow the pride and, well, that's tough. I mean, the dishes still need to be cleaned, you know, so, but I think that's the case with every relationship. From Andrea, she says, how do you guys do date night? Bi-weekly? Geez, bi-weekly.
What does that look like for you, and how do you guys get away with each other to make it work with your kids? How often? So we don't have a set date night. Since my living school time, I wish we had weekly or bi-weekly date night. That sounds awesome. We just fit it in while we can. It isn't right now very consistent. I think I would like it to be.
Well, who wouldn't? I mean, who would love to go out to get a babysitter for 3 kids, dinner, and then you gotta buy, it's a date, so you gotta get dessert. So you're out like $100 once a week. That's $400. That's $5,000 a year. Gee, you know. So I say it's not important, but the way we date too, when I come home, we go on these walks. Walking is really cool. For me as a guy, when we're walking, it's like we're doing something, my back's not hurting, we're like sitting in a weird chair, or, you know, worrying about what the food is. You know, it's just, we're moving, we're talking, and I think that's important to connect every single day. Try to get date nights as much as you can.
To get away, I think I'm realizing this more and more. We are so huge on getting away, but we're also so blessed to have my in-laws and my parents and siblings that are willing to watch and not scared of watching our 3 young kids. I'm finding that is rare. I'm always like such a big advocate for getting away, but what I'm hearing more and more is like, but who watches your kids? And we've kind of just made it a pattern the last several years to either do like a staycation for several nights, or, you know, we've done a big trip before, we've done a trip to New York before, but we try to, I think, have some us time at least once a year. We usually do it around the summertime or September near our anniversary, and it's something that I look forward to, and we just come away, I think, so refreshed. Like New York this year for us was so much fun. Like, it's just so nice as a mom to have no responsibility and to feel just fun and free with my husband, and to get ready and go out on dates every night. Like, it is just, that's my dream. So it's like my hugest advice for marriage.
How do you handle disagreements with your husband and keep them from turning into arguments?
I was mentioned, we used to have like knockout fights, like when we first got married, like literally.
Not fights, but not punching, but.
Not punching, but like yelling, aggressive, constant arguments.
Our neighbors hurt us, for sure. Because you love each other and you don't know how to communicate, and you're 24, 25.
Yeah. We have learned over the years, goes back to the communication and learning how to just communicate our needs and our desires. And we've also just, I think, takes time to kind of let the big things say the big things, and what's small things eventually I feel like shakes out over the years. Like I used to hate going to bed by myself at night. It just bothered me. Like I just envisioned, and it goes down to expectations. Every night I'm gonna go to sleep with my husband, and now I am like 9 o'clock, okay, good night, I leave more. Like I'm not gonna fight him on that. Like it doesn't matter. And quite honestly, now the nights we do go to sleep together at the same time, I like hear him breathe and it bugs me. So, you know, it just takes time in your marriage to work out those things that bug you initially don't bug you years later. When
you're arguing, you're throwing the ball and you're throwing it harder and harder at each other. Like you know you're playing catch with somebody and they just keep hucking the ball at, and they're like you're like trying to one up each other when you keep throwing it fast, and like, okay, like it hurt your hand, so all right, I'm gonna throw this one just as back hard. And that's how a lot of arguing is. You just keep throwing zingers, and they're painful. Like I remember some of our arguments early on in marriage, they're so painful, like the things that we would say, and you gotta be careful because it's a lose-lose situation. And when you see someone arguing, you want to be present. Sometimes they need time to cool off, but you just need to respond with peace and patience, which is tough to do. But I think now we recognize what it looks like, and we're sensitive to it, and we're not, you know, gonna ever get divorced. So my question is for Travis. Ooh, Emily Sadlow. You do lead your family spiritually. I think lead my family spiritually. Well, I love on her in front of the kids, which I think is really, really important. It's the kids are just, all they do is just watch, and they're learning, and they're observing how, particularly dads, do everything. If there's a sense of security, I think, with the kids, when they see me love on her, give, kiss, and hold, and treat her like my spouse, and not all, I mean, I'm into my kids, but I mean, I'm first into her. I think it sets the priorities straight with the kids, and I think they understand that and they respect that. I pray for them every night. I pray for their future spouses. I pray for a hedge of protection around them. I pray, you know, I know that there's going to be, schools are just going to get gnarlier and gnarlier.
I think Travis leads us not in a way that's like your stereotypical, like, come on kids, like we need to go to church and trust in the Lord, but it's just like a very real, raw way, like he mentioned, and he is a very good spiritual leader, especially in our marriage. He's, I mean, maybe it comes down to personality types, but he really is like always the first to apologize and say, I love you, like there's no leaving here. So we've got to work this out, and I just feel like by taking the high road and just constantly pursuing me in that, most times is a huge way to lead me spiritually. And
this girl
also encourages me like so much in my walk, and just he like he said, he recognizes when I need time away or I need to just be praying and listening to the Lord's will.
Well, she's a tough Italian, man, and never wrong, ever.
Never gets by this white glow on me. I'm like, oh,
how did we propose?
Oh,
that's a fun story.
Yeah.
Do we have a picture? A couple nights before I proposed, she's like, hey, I want our parents to kind of meet and connect. And I was like, I just feel like that's a bad idea. I didn't bait her. I just kind of like,
really threw me off where I was questioning.
I kind of threw her off. She was questioning everything. Or that day, I set up Christmas lights on a pier, and I also set up, I made this huge sign, and I put it along this jetty, and it said, marry me, Ash. And so I did that in a day. December, huge storm. I walked her down after dinner where we had our first date, and I got down on one knee, and then I turned on the Christmas lights. My buddy and they turned on the Christmas light that said marry me, Ash. Then I had this little rowboat next to us. I was like, we're going on a rowboat, and we're just going to paddle around to this beach area where our friends were. Huge swell, huge winds. I'm in the middle, I mean, swept away from the current into the bay.
Oh gosh.
U.S. Coast Guard eventually picked us up. They picked up everything, gave us life jackets. And then they,
I'm getting married, I don't care.
They were super nice, and then they dropped us off at the beach. Fun story.
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest lessons you've learned in a committed relationship, the strength, like, yeah, I mean, I'm so much, collectively, we're smarter, we run things past each other. I mean, the things you can accomplish being married or having a spouse is not just twice the amount. I really do believe it's like 10 times the amount. So you can experience 10 times the joy, 10 times the blessing and success and work, and 10 times the success in anything because of that strong relationship. This is from my friend Caitlin. We went to high school together. How do you balance household chores, tasks, and childcare tasks, meals, bath time, etc. between the two of you? And or how do you accept that his amount of help as enough? Something we're working on?
Yeah, we're working it out. It's hard. It's hard because he gets up early and goes to work like at 7:30 every day. I take care of the kids pretty much all day long, and he doesn't get home until about 6:30, 7. Depends. It's hard because we're in a season of little kids. 2 of the 3 kids go to bed at 7. I pretty much have to, and they eat at like 5 p.m. So I pretty much have to do like a full day with them. The second he comes home though, he's awesome. He is on, he's helpful. He wants to put the kids down and spend time with them. He doesn't desire to be homely, but I don't know, there's just a lot of grace there. And on the weekends, he just steps in and takes the kids out. I can go grocery shopping alone. You know, that goes back to the other lady's question. Like when he came home, I wish he could recognize immediately, okay, I need to unload the dishwasher, I need to help do the dishes, I need to get, he kind of steps into, not my world, but kind of, this is kind of my domain to like manage. And so I have to ask him, hey, can you get the girls down? Or I'm gonna go to bed, it's 9 o'clock, see ya. Can you please unload the dishwasher? Like, I have to ask him because we're still kind of learning this season together. And he's always good to compliment me and say thank you. You do a lot around here, and I think that goes a long way. So that I'm not just a stay-at-home mom that's like laying on the couch eating, you know, Cheetos all day.
I know, I used to think that, like, what do you do all day? Like, is it that busy? And then
when he has the kids for like a day, he's like, get home.
I want to kill myself.
What are your love languages? Asks Lizzie. Okay, mine is everything, but definitely quality time, and I don't know, acts of service or gifts. Probably acts of service. Those are probably like my top 2.
My love languages. So cute, huh? Yeah, I think
words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. Just like being appreciated, like any person does, what they do. Physical touch.
Is there anything you do daily, say when your hubby comes home, that keeps the marriage alive? Oh, but I should. If you have any tips, let me know. I should say, hey honey, ready for a hot night? I don't know, that would probably be really nice, but I think just being positive keeps the marriage alive. I used to just always be grumpy, like, why didn't you call me? Or so annoyed that he got home, you know, half an hour later than he said he would. Greet him with a smile. Save those conversations for later if they're really a big deal.
I mean, the window between the husband getting home from work and
the window between 4 and like 7 is
4 and
brutal.
7 is like the worst time to be communicating to your spouse about anything.
It's a tough time.
Everyone's sensitive, everyone's pissed.
Everyone's tired. Kids are tired.
What is the one quality that you love about each other? The one quality I love about her, she has a strong sense of direction and a good compass. Like, she knows right from wrong immediately. She has a good intuition about something. Super loyal to the core. She just has like her compass on what is life is just perfect.
Sweet, thank you.
Yeah.
So my favorite thing about Travis is I don't want this to come off as a bad thing, but his sensitivity, his tenderness. He is this huge, like, athletic, successful, like, strong man, but he also has this very, like, tender part to his heart that I think I really appreciate, value, respect, and I see a lot of those qualities in our son, and just makes for like a very sweet, authentic, real marriage. He's not afraid to share things that he's struggling with, needs prayer for, wants, desires. Like, he's just, what you see is what you get. And Jess says, now that you're a stay-at-home mom and your husband works, how do I assume you get me time? Does your husband watch the babes for a day or a couple hours, hire a sitter? So my me time is a lot of times in the evening after the kids go down. I tell Travis I need to get out, I need to go on a walk, I need to go on a run, I listen to a podcast, I just have quiet time, I pray. That has been so fulfilling to me, and I've really learned the last year the value of just taking that time away. It's not that I'm hiring a sitter, and it's sometimes just telling him I'm going grocery shopping on Saturday by myself, no one's allowed to come with me, or even just taking one kid as a break, right? I've just had to like exercise that muscle of learning where my capacity is and what I need to kind of recharge and refuel.
Questions from Denise, very bold. Has there ever been temptations of cheating, and how do you handle it and move past it? Temptations of cheating, I think, no. Fortunately, I think when you're not connecting, and certainly not connecting emotionally, you're vulnerable, and don't put ourselves in super sketchy, not sketchy, but compromised situations where she's out with her girlfriends who are all single and they're going to a club or drinking, and vice versa. I'm not doing the same thing. So you think you got to surround yourself with people that have like-minded morals. You can't say that just life is perfect. And we have access to each other's everything, Facebook or Instagram or emails, phones. It's super transparent. Not we don't trust each other, but we don't trust what could potentially happen, or we certainly don't trust people outside this unit. So I know that's kind of weird, but I think that's something that's unique about us. It's like, we're married, we're one, everything's all in the same thing, and nothing to hide, transparent. I think transparency is really important. We're certainly sensitive to it. We've seen it in people we know, and we know we're not on a high horse, that we're not susceptible to it. But God does forgive, God does cleanse, God does purify. I think that marriages can become made stronger through broken times. Just like bones, when they break, they're stronger the next time. So
we are extremely sensitive and take extreme guard on our marriage to ensure the best of our human possibility, along with like the Lord's holy power, that doesn't happen. And we're not, though, naive and stupid. So I think it's just being on guard and not thinking that you are above it is practical ways to avoid those situations.
Oh no, what is your favorite memory of you two together? Recently, about New York. We went to New York. We had really good food. We had really good one-on-one time.
One-on-one.
Oh gosh. We just, just like walking around the subway or, whatever. Oh jeez. This is YouTube here.
Oh.
New York was cool.
I just love the day-to-day with Trav. I watching him become a dad, and he's been a dad for a while now, but just continuing to morph into that role with the more kids we have and the older our kids get, and just seeing him, it's just, I love it. I just look at him and I flash back to when we were dating. Whoa, I can't believe I'm married to Travis Carter. We live here, this is our family, this is our life. Like, I love it. So how do you find time with your husband and children, keep an intimate relationship with Christ? Getting up in the morning, that has been revolutionary. The last just few weeks I've ever done this in my whole life, be this consistent, and I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but for me, I'm setting my alarm and getting up at 5:45, 6 every morning and spending consistent time with God, and it has been a game changer in my day-to-day. Being able to pray for them, pray for just people and issues, and just having that like moment of peace in the morning is awesome. So I highly recommend that.
What is the best way to get your husband to open up more, talk on a deeper level, if he's not like that?
I would suggest, like, I think naturally we want to like sit down on the couch and talk things out, or go out to dinner and talk, but I think it's just kind of a general rule that guys open up and talk more when they're doing things together. So for us, like when we go walk, I mean, Travis naturally wants to talk. It might be more so than me sometimes.
I'm chatty, I'm sensitive.
Yeah.
I'm basically the girl in a relationship.
No. I think doing stuff though together would get your spouse to maybe open up more.
Well, I think with communicating and getting people to talk and be open, there has to be trust to listen, and sometimes you have to ask questions and you have to just be sensitive. And I think most people want to talk about what's going on in their life. Most people want to talk about themselves. And so I think asking certain, not go right into the deep questions, but just ask about, if they're into motorcycle riding or whatever, like, hey, who's winning the,
How do you find time to keep with 3 children, keep your marriage alive? I think again.
So do you think she's?
Oh, alive. Quotation.
It is quotations around the alive, so I think she's trying to ask about hints. Well, she got all of our kids on a sleeping schedule, so they all go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Or 7, yeah.
So,
Right.
I mean, that helps. And she goes to bed at 9:30, so
We have a small window.
there's our window.
What would you say is your favorite thing to do together? What makes you both laugh? What the other? Everything. He's so goofy. He just does interesting things. I don't know.
Well, people don't know. Like, who is this man?
I know. He's just a character. If you know Travis, you know what I'm talking about. He's just funny.
What has been the hardest thing you guys have gone through and made you doubt your marriage?
But instead made it stronger. Certain things private. I don't think I'm going to air all of our dirty laundry. But nothing like crazy. But we've been through some hard times that I think have...
I don't think we've ever doubted our marriage. I mean, from day one, we've always thrown away that idea about divorce. It's mine, it's hers. Our bodies are one. So it's like anything you do to damage that is just damaging yourself, which is kind of stupid.
Living from experience, don't be scared of the hard times. The hard times can be really purifying. It can bring you closer, and it does make you stronger. It's so true that power through. We've been through some hard times, and we also haven't been scared to go to therapy. It was a little nerve-wracking at first because I always assumed therapy were for people that were really on the edge or about to be divorced, and that's not true. And it was really a powerful way to understand each other, understand where we're coming from, kind of how we think, have a third party point out certain things that we could work on. For me, I'm just such a huge proponent of it now, and that really helped us through
And
at the time, what was a hard time? Looking back, okay, we've now made it through and been on to other things, but...
I mean, yeah, we've lost, you know, child in the womb, and...
My miscarriage a couple months ago was really hard.
You know, I think also too that going to that thing about the therapy, it's important to like go and pay and get someone that you don't know. Not that going to your church is bad, but like
go to like a legit
that
like
marriage therapist
psychologically can help you,
really
not
helpful.
just like encouraging. Like that's great too, but
I think every marriage is not perfect. Every marriage could use someone to give guidance, and that's that. I mean, but fortunately, I love this girl so much, and I'm so committed to her, and she loves me. And like I said, despite anything, you can have a great marriage, you can have a great relationship, no matter how long you've been dating, and be giddy. And so it's very fun.
It is fun, and if you made it through this video, congratulations, you deserve an award. This was like so long, but if you're listening, I just hope that you are encouraged. I hope that if you find yourself in a really dark and lonely place in your marriage, that it encourages you to pray for your marriage, to pursue your spouse, to seek counseling, because it can get better, and it doesn't have to be this stagnant, boring, sad place. And if you have any questions or follow-up comments that you wanted to share, or you feel that we didn't go into enough, we'll try to respond to you then, and we hope that we answer most of your questions. I hope you guys found this helpful. Subscribe to my channel, and we will see you next week. Bye.